every day I struggle making up.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying.
Not today. I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Do you think you want to?
It's 8:30. Yes, guys.
So, how far do you go?
What?
Thank you.
No, I have it so now.
What's your content?
It's like yes. Well.
Okay, let's get started.
I don't have shadows and sandwich. Oh, the bomb.
This is a,
Oh, yeah, great. I just won't sleep.
this is a graph that I just, this is a graph that I took from the New York Times. It's written by a guy named Charles Blow, B-L-O-W. And again, we're going to talk about politics and political philosophy in this course. And this guy's a columnist for the New York Times. So what does that mean as far as the data that he presents? New York Times columnist. What's his political philosophy? Liberal. Okay? So you're going to have, just knowing that, you have a bias. All right? And the people who take my courses already know my bias. I'm also politically liberal. So just understand that. That's the my worldview. So he's talking, the title of his article is Bottom of the Heap. This is a study of, and you have a copy of this, I emailed it to you. It's a big file, unfortunately, because I just scanned it, but social justice in the OECD, how do the member states compare? What's the OECD?
Organization of Economic.
Development,
Yeah.
I think. Who are the OECD countries? Which are they?
The wealthy, the high
The
income.
high-income
Yes.
countries.
Also the G8.
It's more than 8.
No, I'm saying the G8 is part of the.
Yes, and the G20 is. Israel became an OECD country just a few years ago, and that was a huge success for them. Okay? Because by joining the OECD, you get to compare a lot of data. It's a way to understand how you do versus how other countries do, particularly in issues like the ones we're about to talk about. So this is a ranking of countries, and let's look at the rankings first. Okay? So we're looking at overall social justice, overall poverty, poverty prevention, poverty rate, childhood poverty, senior citizen poverty, income inequality, that's the Gini index, pre-primary education health rating. Everybody see that up there? Okay? Now, let's tell me what you see, and I assume you recognize that this is ranked from the top to the bottom. The darker squares are the worst group. Yeah, are the worst group, and the light ones are the best. So what do you want to tell me? What do you see?
The dark ones are the worst, you said?
Yeah.
So the United States looks like it's not doing so well. Is that Chile?
So the wealthy companies who help my group.
Okay. Can you read the names of the countries?
Chile?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Chile,
dark.
Greece.
Chile,
What?
Oh, Turkey.
yeah. Chile, Mexico, Turkey.
The Scandinavian and the surrounding region seems to be doing better than
The Scandinavian countries are at the top.
countries.
Yes, ma'am? How is it that Turkey is at the bottom? You want to tell us about that? Why?
from which year was this data from?
There seems to be a general correlation between social justice and health. And
Yes,
we have bright
okay.
countries on top on both sides and dark
Right.
countries on the bottom.
Okay, so this column is the health column, and it seems to match up pretty well with everything else, okay? the point that I'm making with this, I mean, his point, this is in the New York Times, he's talking about the United States. And as I mentioned to you, you'll hear me talk about the United States on and off, because it's an extremely wealthy country with really bad outcomes. Okay? And this is an example of that. So this is published in the United States as an embarrassment, showing how bad we are. Okay? But for the purpose of what I want us to talk about, I want us to look at all of these countries and to reach some conclusions. So let's go up to the top. And who was it who talked about the Scandinavian countries? Was that it? Who made the observation that the Scandinavian, yeah, Kingdom, I thought. Yeah, and they are. Why?
More, there's more equality, like income equality. So it's correlated with the GDP.
Yeah.
So there's a better distribution of.
Right. So these are the Scandinavian countries are less capitalist and more socialist. Income is distributed. And the biggest point that I want to make, and the real reason I'm showing you this, is that health is quite actively correlated with all of these other measures. Okay? So we saw that health is correlated with income. But you can also see these other categories are part of what I would call the social determinants of health. Okay? And the social determinants of health have a very powerful influence on health, although they are not directly health. Yeah? And I'm sure you've been taught this by many other faculty in your courses. For those of us who are physicians, it's quite discouraging to see how little impact the medical care system has on the health of the population. That's a whole separate thing. We're going to talk a little more about that as we look at some of our other data. Okay? Anything else anybody wants to talk about with that? I'm just going to come back here and let's look at some of the countries. So we're going to hear.
Discrepancy between these factors that I mentioned above. Some of them have a dark.
Yes. So
some
right.
aspects are really dark,
Yes.
really bad, and some
Yes.
are really good.
Yes, and that's interesting, isn't it? So New Zealand has a senior citizen poverty rate that's quite bad for some reason. Remember?
I think it's really interesting that with the senior citizen poverty rate, Turkey's is not that bad. And I guess that's probably because, probably similar to Jordan and other countries, the elderly just stay with the home. And so that's
Yeah.
really encouraging, and especially when compared to the United States, we know what happens to the elderly there.
Right, right. So it's very interesting to see those social factors and how different countries, different cultures, right? So culture determines politics, and politics determines how a society operates.
In Mexico, they have a really good educational pre-elementary education, really good one, and the other factors are really bad. Pre-primary education.
One thing that you'll hear me talk about, of the OECD countries, the wealthier countries, there are only 3 that don't have universal health care. The United States, Mexico, and I think it's Turkey. Okay? Which is quite interesting.
Turkey
And
does
here-
have like government hospitals though, so they very much have like a government system where you can go to that hospital.
Well, sure, there's healthcare, but it
It's
isn't.
both, yeah.
Yeah, and then they
It's
have
not
a lot of
Universal
private.
and there's private.
Now, what we're gonna learn is that some countries have universal health care, but there's no health care for anyone. Okay, but we'll get there. Okay?
Like in Albania.
Yes, right? Yep. Okay. Now, we're going to look at, this is my absolute favorite thing to talk about. And just gonna make it a little bigger. Okay. this is from the World Happiness Report. And congratulations, there is a World Happiness Report.
That's good.
Hey, I'm winning. We're winning.
Look at that smile.
Sorry. I like to win this chart, I have to say.
Right.
She's always so happy, so it makes a
It's
lot
about
of sense.
happiness. Sorry, it's about happiness.
You're just a bucket of sunshine.
You got your spirit back.
We'll go through the list. So it's very interesting that there is a measure of happiness. The World Happiness Report was produced 2 years ago by WHO. So it's actually a serious presentation of data.
Well, how do you measure someone's happiness?
Ask Linda.
Come on,
Okay.
our questionnaire.
These are the criteria, right? The different colors represent the different criteria. If you like, we can go to that next, okay?
Thank you.
Professor, is it happiness in relationship to healthcare?
Hold on.
Or general happiness?
Just a minute, we'll give you the definition. Okay, now, so, yeah. I did send you the entire document. It's a big file. It's like 6 or something megabytes. And these are the criteria that the experts use. I don't know who defines an expert. Can you read them? Okay. So, it turns out that being wealthy is definitely makes people happier. They decided, right? Poor people are not as happy as rich people. They took GDP per capita, so they're not, in this case, dealing with the Gini index. Let's make this a little bigger. Yeah.
What page is that on?
Can I say something while you're doing that?
Yeah.
Just a comment. In Colombia, actually, poor people. It's very famous to say that we are. It's a phrase that we say that we better be happy than rich. So
Yes.
poor people they supposed to be happier than rich people. And actually, in Colombia, it's pretty funny because if you go to these neighborhoods very far away from the downtown or something like that, you go there and it's always party. It's Latin American party. So you go there and you got the best salsa dancers, the best food from the street, and it's always party. Although
I
there
think it's
is
just a
one.
coping mechanism.
Sorry?
I think it could be a coping mechanism.
I don't know, but they look like if they are happy.
Yeah, no, sure.
That's
Probably
not
are
the kind
happy.
of happiness.
Yeah, but I think, in the midst of
Yeah.
all this,
Yeah, what else could you
it's
do
a coping
anyway?
mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember there was a study that came out with this, Princeton University, that they actually put a number on like beyond $75,000 relative to where you live. It doesn't really increase your happiness.
So it's just an interesting observation, right? That happiness and money do correlate, but they don't correlate perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it a coping mechanism? It's interesting to me.
Bhutan has been kind of known for doing a gross national happiness, saying that's more important than the gross national product. But I couldn't find them on here, so I don't know what it.
I don't know.
Never had a couple that's worked out for them.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's finish going through what they feel the components are of happiness, right? GDP per capita, social support, healthy life expectancy, freedom to make life choices. What does that mean?
Well, it's the opposite of the totalitarian regime.
Yeah, right. So they believe that happiness, is clearly correlated with freedom of individual decision making. Generosity. I'm not sure how they define generosity. I assume that means
Charity?
charity. Yeah. Redistribution of wealth. Right? So in Sweden, if you get a speeding ticket, the cost of the ticket is determined by your personal income.
What kind of expectations?
I think that's
Right? So you may pay You may pay $50 for going too fast or $1,000, depending on your personal income.
Does that make them target?
I've seen it.
Does that make them target people like profile for?
I don't know. You don't want to drive a
You have a
red
nice
car.
car.
Said, don't drive a nice car in Sweden,
There you go.
There,
Okay.
What is the perception of
Corruption. Now, as we go through this course, we're going to talk about the challenges in health systems that are determined by a number of factors. And we'll talk about corruption in a moment. Geography. Geography has a huge impact on health systems, on healthcare delivery. Who's talking about Australia? Somebody is. Okay. I'd like you to tell us, when you do your presentation, the challenges that Australia experiences, because 80% of the population lives on 20% of the land. So how do you provide health care to the other 20% of the population, where they're so far from each other? Okay? So geography is a real challenge. Greece. Why would geography be an issue for Greece?
Because of the scattered islands?
Oh, I'm sorry?
Because of the scattered islands?
The islands. There are, what, 10,000 islands? You can have 10,000 hospitals. If you have a heart attack on an island that doesn't have a hospital, your chances of dying are going to be higher.
but also anytime that the majority of the population lives in the rural area, there's a problem because health facilities are usually in urban areas.
Right.
So there's an access to health problem,
Right.
accessibility to health.
Yes, so even in those parts of the world where, like Israel, okay, we're a small country where you can get anywhere to anywhere in a short period of time, there still are disparities between rural and urban. Right?
How common is it in, I know in the US they do this, but how common is it in other countries? Do they give incentives to doctors or pay for student loans to send them to
In a lot of places.
There in Canada, they have that. They send people to northern provinces. You get money for residency through provincial governments, and you get sent to the Yukon territories for a few years after you register. So it's really common.
Yeah.
And they're trying to incentivize people in Israel as well.
It's like a hardship allowance. And the WHO, if you have that.
Okay, let's talk about corruption. This will be a theme that we talk about. What's corruption?
Misdirection of funds.
Misdirection of funds.
It's
Unfair, unjust, okay?
Yeah.
Would you say abuse of power?
Yes,
Yeah.
and the implementation of law, the selective implementation of law.
Selective implementation of laws, okay? So let's apply this to healthcare. So grandma is sick. She can't, all of a sudden, there's something very wrong with grandma. And we live in a country that's corrupt. What's gonna happen to grandma's health care as a consequence?
If you don't have money, she might not get the care she needs.
Why? Tell me, let's just play this out as a scene. What's gonna happen? Grandma's sick, she's in bed. We don't have a whole lot of money, so what's gonna happen to us?
Grandma's gonna die.
Grandma's gonna die. What if we have the money?
Grandma's gonna live.
She could survive.
She could survive.
She could survive, right?
But also, I think in a lot of these countries, like, in developing countries, even if you do have money, and that's known, then you're exploited for that also. And there's a lot of unnecessary, this is what I found in Albania, for example, unnecessary treatments and recommendations just so that they can get as much money as you as possible, even from you as possible, even when it's absolutely not necessary.
Okay.
Even if they have money, the technology might not be there to diagnose her of her ailment.
Okay, that's a different thing though. We're just talking about corruption right now. Okay? So yeah, there are all sorts of other things. But now, what's gonna happen to the money, Mesa, that you wanna pay? Where does it go?
To the pockets of
The providers.
The provider, right?
but also private physicians.
So
they
in
have
a
money.
corrupt society,
Maybe
do those, hold on a second, in a corrupt society, do those providers, the doctors and nurses, need that money? Why do they get that money? What's the story what's the story of how they got their job?
Political
Political
affiliation.
political affiliation, okay? So I'm the doctor, okay? And what Mesa may or may not understand is that I got my job because my uncle got it for me. And when he gave me the job, what did I do for him?
You need to pay him back.
Hmm?
You need to pay him
I
back.
paid him. And he gave me a job. And what does my job pay me? How do I get paid with my job? It's a government job. I don't get a salary. Or I get a very small salary. Or a quarter of the salary I get, I have to pay to my uncle. And what does he do? He pays his cousin. So, what I end up with is saying to Mesa, if you don't have money for me, this is my salary. It's not like I'm rich and you're making me richer. It's that I have very little, and this is the only way I'm going to get by. Now, is that always true? No. Now, just one second, okay? We're going to define a system a little later today. This corruption corrupts systems. Because you can't run a system if it isn't a system. So the less fair it is, the more corrupt it is, the harder it is to have a system of care. Okay? So in a proper system, if Lynn's grandmother is sick and Mesa's grandmother is sicker, then we take care of Mesa's grandmother first, because she needs that attention. But if it's determined by who you know or how much you pay, then the whole system breaks down. The sick people don't get taken care of, the less sick people do. Okay? So corruption is a profound problem in many countries as it relates to healthcare. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
Well, I wanted to say that in corrupted system, priorities differ, as you just said, that someone who is not that sick, just because he can get the
Right.
attention, the medical attention that people don't get. And some other thing that maybe they might have